Hi everyone. Welcome to the most amazing top 5 YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the top 5 biggest conspiracy theories in history. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. 5. 9/11 was an inside job. In a series of coordinated terror attacks, nearly 3,000 people lost their lives during the events of September 11, 2001, with thousands more injured and over 2,000 first responders eventually losing their lives due to illnesses related to their time working at Ground Zero. On that fall day in 2001, Americans watched, stunned, as 2 planes hit the Twin Towers in New York City, while a third struck the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and a fourth crashed into a field outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. September 11th took its place in history as the date of the most deadly foreign attack on American soil, usurping Pearl Harbor. Maybe it's because of the scale of loss, that nearly 3,000 people could be killed within a few hours on a sunny September morning, or because of the lies that have been told to the American people to sell them on the endless wars that followed the attacks, but the subject of 9/11 has always been a playground for conspiracy theorists. One of the most prevalent theories is that the administration of President George W. Bush did 9/11, or at least knew about it and let it happen because the administration wanted to go to war in Afghanistan and Iraq for oil. Many 9/11 theories branch out of the core conspiracy that 9/11 was an inside job. Supposedly, the Twin Towers could only have collapsed the way they did as a result of controlled demolition. This is false. Another favorite among conspiracy theorists: the Pentagon was not hit by a plane, but by a missile. A number of prominent figures on the right, including Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, (RGOF), have peddled conspiracy theories about 9/11. According to Slate, InfoWars radio host Alex Jones is one of the earliest and most influential 9/11 conspiracy theorists, and has helped these ideas gain ground. 4. Princess Diana's death was no accident. When Princess Diana, a beautiful, young, royal outsider known as the People's Princess, was killed in a car crash in Paris in 1997, 1 year after her divorce from Prince Charles, conspiracies immediately abounded. The specifics vary, but the crux of most Diana-related theories is this: the car accident that killed her was not an accident. At the time of her death, she was dating Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian film producer who died in the limo alongside her, who was supposedly planning to propose to Diana the night of the accident. In a court witness statement, Dodi's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, said they were killed because the monarchy couldn't stand the thought of Diana and Prince Charles's sons, heirs to the British throne, having a stepfather who was Egyptian and Muslim. Dodi's father also claimed Diana was pregnant at the time of the crash, though the coroner who examined Diana said she was not. Another theory is that the limo driver, Henri Paul, who was drunk at the time of the accident, intentionally crashed the car. Because Paul was the head of security at the Ritz Hotel in Paris, where the couple had departed from just prior to the crash, conspiracy theorists believe he might have been on the payroll of a national intelligence service group that wanted Diana dead. Other theorists believe that Diana's medical care after the crash was deliberately sabotaged. For conspiracy theorists in the US, this idea arose from the differences between French and American approaches to emergency care. In France, protocol dictates that emergency medical personnel attempt to stabilize a patient before transferring to the hospital. In the US, getting to the hospital is the first priority. Because Diana was treated at the scene and not immediately rushed to the nearest hospital, some think this is proof she was purposefully killed. 3. The moon landing was faked. In July 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to land on the surface of the moon, or did they? Just kidding. They absolutely did. But by the 1970s, 30% of Americans believed the moon landing had been faked. In the case of the fake moon landing, William Kaysing apparently started writing the book We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle, as satire, but he ended up fully believing the conspiracy. The primary idea in his book was that the footage of astronauts taking their first steps on the moon's surface, which hundreds of millions of people watched live on TV, was actually shot at Nevada's Area 51, another hotbed for conspiracy theorists. As recently as 2019, A small survey showed that 10% of Americans still believed that the moon landing was a hoax. In 2018, after NBA star Steph Curry said he didn't believe in the moon landing, NASA offered him a lunar lab tour. 2. The CIA had a hand in JFK's assassination. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested on November 22, 1963, for assassinating President John F. Kennedy Jr. that same day in Dallas, Texas. 2 days later, while being transported to a local jail, Oswald was shot and killed by Jack Ruby, a Texas nightclub owner. This shocking set of events was ripe for conspiracies from the start. Not only was a handsome, popular president fatally shot in broad daylight, the accused assassin was killed days later, inviting speculation about a cover-up. As early as the late 1960s, more than 50% of Americans didn't believe Oswald had acted alone. And as of 2017, 538 reports, 61% of Americans believed the assassination involved a conspiracy of some sort. There are a few main JFK conspiracy theories. One popular theory is that the CIA killed JFK in retaliation for the failed Bay of Pigs invasion to overthrow Cuban leader Fidel Castro. According to biographer Philip Shannon, Bobby Kennedy, JFK's brother and the Attorney General, initially thought a group of rogue CIA agents were involved in JFK's death, though he later reconsidered. Another theory is that Oswald wasn't the lone gunman. People can hardly be faulted for believing this when a House of Representatives Select Committee on Assassinations found that there was probably a conspiracy involving a second shooter. In 1982, another committee called those findings into question, but the theory had already taken root. A third theory. The assassination was actually a mob hit meant to punish Bobby Kennedy for cracking down on the mafia. Oh, and did you hear the one about Ted Cruz's father? We're going to skip it here, but if you feel like a laugh, look into it. 1. Myths about the Holocaust. Between 1941 and 1945, 6 million Jews were killed across Europe in a horrific genocide led by Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler. Despite the fact that the Holocaust is one of the best documented events in history, there are swaths of the population that don't believe it happened, or they believe the death toll has been enormously inflated. One 2014 survey, coordinated by the Anti-Defamation League, of more than 53,000 people across 100 countries found that only 30% of respondents thought historical accounts of the Holocaust were accurate. Respondents under the age of 65 were more likely to say they didn't believe the Holocaust happened as history books say it did. Poor education on the subject may be one explanation for this, but some conspiracy theorists push the anti-Semitic notion that the Holocaust was invented or exaggerated to garner sympathy and monetary gains for Jewish people while serving and advancing Jewish interests. Deborah E. Lipstadt, a historian and professor who has written books on Holocaust denial, separates Holocaust deniers into two groups. There are the hardcore deniers who say the Holocaust didn't happen at all. Then, Lipstadt says, there are the less fervent deniers who may admit the Holocaust happened but question the official death toll or that gas chambers were used for mass murder. Thanks for watching.